Good morning. My name is Esther Manheimer. I'm Mayor of the City of Asheville, and I'd like to welcome you to the April 3rd, 2025 Agenda Briefing Work Session. All council members and staff are participating virtually. The meeting will be live streamed on the city's YouTube channel or through the city's virtual engagement hub, accessible through the front page of the city's website. You may listen to the meeting via phone at 855-925-2801, meeting code 10961. And as usual, we do not take public comment during the agenda briefing. Our city manager, Deborah Campbell, will not be joining us today. Council and staff, please unmute yourselves and say a quick hello when I call your name. Vice Mayor Antoinette Mosley.
Hello.
Council Member Kim Roney.
Hello.
Council Member Maggie Ullman.
Hi, everybody.
Council Member Bo Hess.
Hey, good morning.
Council Member Sage Turner.
Good morning.
Council Member Shanika Smith.
Good morning.
Assistant City Manager Ben Woody.
Morning.
Interim Assistant City Manager Jade Dundas.
Morning.
City Attorney Brad Branham.
Good morning, everyone.
City Clerk Maggie Burleson.
Good morning.
Okay, and I'm now going to turn it over to Assistant City Manager Ben Woody.
Thank you, Mayor, and good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. Ben Woody, Assistant City Manager, and I am going to try to facilitate this meeting, standing in for Deborah Campbell, our City Manager. So please give me your patience, as those are big shoes to fill. We'll get started today. We've got not a lot of information, and one change to our agenda I want to highlight. Assistant City Manager Jade Dundas today, he's going to cover our agenda review for the April 8th meeting. We actually have a fairly short agenda for that meeting. As has been the case for a number of months now, council committees remain on pause, although I'll note we are making good progress. Following up on council's retreat in February, we're making good progress of getting those council committees turned back on or resumed. So pretty soon you'll begin to see updates on council committees again as part of these work sessions. Jade is also going to cover the 8-week agenda and the recovery briefing topic schedule, so you'll get a look at what's ahead or what's on the horizon in both those areas. We've got 2 items under other issues and updates. First, Jade is going to give an update on capital projects, so Jade has a lot to cover today. We had on the schedule an update from Emily Ball on our point in time count results. However, I regret to say Emily is not feeling well, so she is not going to be able to provide that update today. So we will get that rescheduled as quickly as we can, because I know that information is of great interest to City Council. And so with that, I am going to turn it over to Jade Dundas to lead us through the agenda review.
Thank you, Ben. Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. Jade Dundas, interim assistant city manager. So second time going through this, hopefully we'll have worked out some kinks. So as been indicated, it was pretty short agenda for Tuesday, but we will start at 3:00 in the afternoon for a budget work session, which will include a review of the capital budget moving forward, which also will focus on, as I'll get into a little bit later, bond and recovery focus projects. No proclamations. And then the consent agenda, item B is an agreement with North Carolina Emergency Management. This agreement ensures a timely reimbursement of future FEMA funds. We've already got some advanced funding, but this will ensure that we have all the details worked out for future reimbursement requests. There's a contracting item on there for Appalachian Sideworks for the Patton Avenue sidewalk improvements, which are actually west of the Jeff Bowen Bridge. You probably remember me covering these in the past, and this is a project we had 0 bids. We opened it back up, and we got several bids and favorable pricing, and so that was a pleasant surprise for that. And then there is an item that was moved to the consent agenda, and that is the proposed slate of directors for the Asheville Downtown Improvement District Board. Any questions?
Where is the link to all of the proposed slate? I just saw the request document. Is it in a follow-up?
So thank you, first of all, Councilwoman Turner, for the question. So the request document does have links, number one, to ADID's proposed slate for the board of directors. And then it also has a link to the cover letter they submitted as part of that. So you should see those two hyperlinks on the request document. Is that what you were looking for, Councilwoman Turner?
Yeah, it's got refreshing links now, so I guess I just missed it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Moving on to presentations and reports, there is no manager's report, but we will be hearing from Metropolitan Sewer District about their Carrier Bridge pump station. It's a significant project that will range from River Crossing and Carrier Park through the area there around French Broad River Park. So they're coming in to share the details about that. And then also boards and commissions realignment working group will be presented. Under public hearings, we'll be closing unopened right-of-way, Morningside Drive, hearing Coventry Circle and Brevard Road. Pretty simple item. And then new business, it will be the authorization for staff to submit the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Relief Action Plan to HUD, which I know there's been a tremendous amount of activity with staff and the community input has been amazing. So this document is, this is the final authorization to submit. And then additionally, the fees and charges manual will be adopting that ordinance as a new business item as well. And then boards and commissions for appointments for Board of Adjustments and the Civil Service Board. Councilwoman Roney.
Yeah, I just wanted to elevate that I'm hearing so much excellent feedback about the CDBGDR presentations and input sessions. I know we've been taking this really seriously and giving it 100%. But at some point today it ends, right? And so then will all of that be kind of congealed in one location where we as council members, but also the public can review it? How is it being accumulated? Maybe is the better question.
We'll need to follow up on that. Ben, I don't know if you've got any more details, but we can certainly.
Yeah, we can definitely follow, but I wonder if Nikki Reed, we have Nikki on here today. Nikki, is there anything that you're able to add at the moment on that?
Absolutely. And yes, we are getting a lot of good email information through our, in regards to the input on the action plan. From what I understand, all of the public comment will be incorporated into the plan as an appendix. So it will be included in the plan. So you can really see everything that's been shared. And so that will be incorporated into the plan as an appendix. So if there's any additional information I can provide, I'm happy to follow up. But I know it will certainly be included in the appendix and a response to that as well in terms of how the plan either meets that or how otherwise we're incorporating or moving in a different strategy. So there should be a response to that public comment as well in the plan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nikki. I didn't realize you were there, so appreciate that. As Ben had mentioned, the council committees remain on pause, and the staff's working on working towards getting those stood back up. 8-week agenda. There's McCormick Field appears quite a bit. There's the lease agreements with the tourists, and then also executing agreements, the TPDF funding, and also the financing for the project as is on there. Is there anything else on the 8-week agenda that you feel like you need to highlight? Okay. And then recovery briefing topic schedule. It's it said on Tuesday, we'll the action plan. Next Tuesday with the action CDBGDR action plan adoption, the work session presentation, the continuation of the operating budget, and then also the capital presentation. CDBG steady state, which I think is just an update on the normal funding program. And then also an update coming up in May, debris removal, PPDR, personal property debris removal, and then also our communications dashboard presentation on that day as well. Yes, Councilwoman Maroney.
I know a lot of folks, including neighborhood organizations, were intending to respond to some sort of presentation about the I-26 connector, anticipating a DOT presentation. We got that information that presentation is no longer coming to council. But I just wanted to confirm that in this meeting, because I know folks may be paying attention to this as well.
Yeah, that is the case. There is not a DOT presentation on April 8th council meeting. There is a planned, and I don't know the exact date and time, but DOT is planning an open house sometime in April, and certainly we'll make sure that date is available, or that schedule is available. And that would be an opportunity for folks to go in and understand the project and share their thoughts directly with DOT in that setting.
But Kim, we did talk about bringing the DOT back to council after that public engagement process is completed, just sort of to be determined, but that the sequencing would be that it would happen after the DOT's public engagement.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Welcome. So that's the agenda review. If there's no further questions, I'm happy to. Yes, Councilwoman Ullman.
For the recovery briefing topic schedule, I don't know where this would fit, but at some point, I think it would be really valuable for us to see what happens after we submit the CDBG-DR action plan. I feel like I'm not really sure what that looks like. And those, are going to be really big line items. So what is the process for us in the community to dig into that? I mean, I know that we don't have a crystal ball of when HUD will approve it, but y'all probably have some time range of what happens next. It's a 3 to 9 month window of waiting, and then we start. What does starting look like? I just feel like it's been such a massive effort to get us to this draft, and I'm really proud of your work and really thankful. And so it's reasonable to take a breath and then go, now what? But I'm excited for the now what. So it'd be nice to have some type of update in the upcoming briefing schedule of what happens next.
Yeah, that's definitely something we can add to that update. Nikki, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I really appreciate the comment, because absolutely we've been laser focused on getting that plan submitted. And then yes, once it's in HUD's hands, then we can really shift gears on looking at what implementation looks like and how we engage council throughout that process and the community. So we will shift that focus as soon as we get that plan submitted, and I think it'll be great to then have that conversation with council, how we all bring each other along in that.
Thank you, Nikki. Any other questions or follow-up requests? Okay, seeing none, we can move into the very brief explanation of what I'll be talking about on Tuesday at the work session. So, in trying to make sure that everybody's clear on the amount of work that we have ahead of us with regard to the capital improvements and recovery efforts in Asheville, we are going to be presenting as a part of the budget work session the details of not of the regular general fund CIP, how we're incorporating the bond, and then the details that we have right now of recovery projects. We had a presentation, or we had a full day meeting to discuss recovery efforts and project grouping. In January, I'd indicated the importance of being able to group projects in order for us to really make them manageable. And so we feel like from a staff perspective, we have a pretty good idea of how we move forward with those. And so that will be part of the presentation on Tuesday. Additionally, some of those recovery projects have some adjacencies or some efficiencies to be able to consider other like projects that are close in geography or very similar in scope. And so those conversations are also taking place. So just the key takeaways. Next slide, Talia. Yeah. So we have been working on a 10-year CIP. This has been an effort that's been going on for almost a year now. We're getting pretty close to like being able to feel really confident moving forward on that. And we have done a lot of work in looking at the out years like 6 through 10. Unfortunately, the hurricane kind of threw a wrench in that. And so we've really kind of settled on a well-developed and thorough 5-year CIP. We feel like it's a good basis for us to be able to communicate about projects and really start helping staff to plan on what those projects develop into. And so we're going to present that and then move into next year the development of that longer range planning, which is critical for us to be able to like understand the landscape of big projects and just also to really understand how we coordinate projects in the future. We also understand that it's important to consider recovery projects in the context of bond and general fund CIP. As I mentioned earlier, there are some opportunities for us to really take advantage and be creative in the way that we're working on projects that we've already identified, and also those recovery related projects. So that's been a focus of the conversation. And then, as I'd said, the recovery projects will be highlighted, but we're still working on the details. One of the things like estimates, which are as had been explained with regard to like the FEMA public assistance process, is just a step in their process. And so being able to understand the complexity of the damage, which is the phase that we're kind of trying to wrap up right now, and moving into scope development and cost assessments with FEMA is the next step. And so after those conversations, we'll be better able to provide estimates to put those into the budgets. And once we have those estimates, we'll be able to really understand what mitigation, resilience, the Build Back Better terminology, what that looks like with regard to how these recovery projects come together over time. And we will also be able to establish timelines. And so we won't have those details. We'll have the list, the grouping of projects and the list of projects. The details of time and estimate, or the estimates and timelines, will probably something we'll develop as we go. It will definitely be part of next year's CIP. We just won't have those details for this coming CIP. So that's the key takeaways. It's kind of like the cliffhanger. Pretty excited about CIP presentations, I'm sure, but we'll come back with all the details on Tuesday. Happy to answer any questions. Yes, Councilwoman Murray.
Maybe tangentially related, but I wondered if we might speak a little bit to, there's some concern around the golf course being first in the list of the PA assistant recovery projects. And I was revisiting the municipal golf course RFQ posting email that we got. And I see very clearly, this is the first of many major recovery projects. It does not represent the first in priority, but it does represent the first of the larger projects to reach the milestone of being ready to move forward. And I think some folks are maybe concerned that this is coming from the CDBGDR funds, But could we take just a moment to touch on which pool of funds this comes from and what other comparable projects are in the list with it?
Yeah, thank you for highlighting that. There's also an economic factor associated with the golf course. Is that's a revenue generator for the city. They've just put together a model that actually was producing revenue, and then there's a cost of not having that functional. So it doesn't prioritize that over like the other projects, but there are efforts that to be able to like group the projects again, which will be presented on Tuesday, in ways that are meaningful and were helpful for us to be able to manage those projects. I will say that at least initially, like a lot of the other projects that we'll be talking about on Tuesday, the recovery projects, it is initially funded. The funding will come from FEMA public assistance. Again, we gave a presentation in January to kind of walk through the details of that. The details are coming into more focus as we move, but those are at least initially the base repairs of all of the infrastructure that's damaged by the hurricane will be through the public assistance process. And so that's where those funds would come from.
And what would be like a comparable project that would also be in that same pool of funding or projects?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. We've got a list of, so we identified simple and complex projects. The simple projects are really fairly limited in scope and won't have a significant change, in the way that we restore them. For example, we're building, re-roofing the municipal building right now. But also like the park systems that were damaged. Those will be part of the bigger complex project grouping that we're going to be talking about on Tuesday. You'll see that, but those are in fact some of those examples. Yeah, so Carrier Park, Recreation Park, the French Broad River Park. So all of those various, all of the items that were damaged by the hurricane in the tropical storm are items that will also be funded by PA and are part of our discussions to move those projects forward as quickly as possible.
Thank you so much. I think one of the things that might have been happening is that we were aware that we had a list of projects that we were applying for those FEMA reimbursement funds for, and we were waiting for like the insurance and the assessment of the damage. But when the message came out that we were ready to move forward with such a big project, it looked like it was out of context, maybe.
Understood. Yeah, and hopefully we'll be able to just highlight those all of the other things on Tuesday. So it's definitely the part of that presentation.
Great. I think that would really help the public. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Then that's my presentation.
Yeah. We'll have to all let Ms. Campbell know that we did this in record time today. So that does conclude staff's review of the agenda. So Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you if there's anything else. And if not, we can close it out, or you can.
Should we just sit here for a while? No, I'm just kidding. And speaking of, Maggie Burleson had reached out to me and mentioned that we have an extremely light agenda on April 22nd, so much so that we're going to take a look and see if we can cancel that meeting and move the couple of items on there to the next, but that's still a work in progress. So stay tuned for that. All right, folks, any other questions, comments? Great. All right, have a good day.